Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Galen Snyder Show. I'm Vince Reed. And of course, we're brought to you, as we were all season long, by Aria Health, your friends and neighbors here in Bucks County, ready to serve you when you are in need of them. Well, we kind of wrapped up the season as far as that goes with the Pennsbury Ball Club this year, and boy, did they have a dandy. They ended up winning, sharing the league in the Suburban One League National Conference, winning the district, and a lot of really exciting ball games. The district was just great this year, and Pennsbury came through with flying colors, won it all, and of course got to the Eastern Final before St. Joe's Prep was able to defeat them last week. And of course, when you look at it, it's 13-2 overall for the season, a couple of championships as well, and making it as far as they did. And Coach, I would think before the season that, you know, if you thought your team would do as well as they did here, you'd be pleasantly surprised, and certainly would think that you'd have a very successful season.
Well, I thought we were capable of doing this, and you know, we achieved, you know, right about where I thought we could. Obviously, we would have liked to have made it all the way to the state final, but you know, we ended up one step short from that end of it. But you know, winning a district title was really, you know, something we hadn't done since 2006.
Yeah.
I knew we had the crew that could do it again, and so they came through. And so I guess if you're, it seems if you ask the question, you know, would you take this, you know, when the season started? Would you be, you know, happy with this? And you know, I would say, yeah. I mean, you know, I think the kids played their hearts out for us. That's for sure. They gave us everything they had, and they did a great job. They did a great job. We've had a lot of good football teams through here in the last 13 years, and you know, this team stacks up with the 06 team as being our two top teams. So. You got to be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that I was going to mention to you, you know, you look at the season, you realize that, you know, you should have a good year, but whereabouts in the season did you think to yourself that, you know, now we've really got it together and we can now make a big run?
No, I thought it right from the beginning. You know, we talked about it, you know, I don't know if I expressed it that way, you know, when we first sat down. Maybe I was probably a little more conservative, but, you know, not on camera, I probably told you, you know, this is what I thought the team could do, and they did what I thought they could do. You know, we did some things during the season. We tweaked some things once we hit the playoffs that we needed to do in order to make it happen. And so, no, I thought we could do it. And, we did it.
I'll tell you what, when I looked at the schedule too, and the thing that got me was the fact that when you came to your last 4 games in the league, they were going to be your 4 toughest opponents as far as that went. And I thought to win 3 out of 4 in that stretch would be tremendous, and that's exactly what you did in that stretch, and you almost won 4 out of 4. But certainly, you know, you had it to where it was week in and week out. You were playing just about. When you look at the playoffs itself, and you had like 4 games that almost, you know, rivaled the playoffs as well, just because of the fact of how tough they were.
Yeah, I think of it as the last 4 games, and then 4 or 5 playoff games. It was 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
So playoff caliber opponents. So that was, you know, that was quite a gauntlet. But you know, the kids did it, and kids did a great job, and you know, so you got to be happy with it.
Let's tell us a little bit about the seniors on this ball club that help your team really get it all together with some of the younger guys here. You had some really good seniors on this team.
Well, real good players and real good people, and hard workers, and you know, great kids. So. You know, if you can surround yourself with those types of kids, if you're fortunate enough to have them come through and then you put the work in with them to develop them, you can have a great crew, and that's what we had with the senior class.
You know, when you look at, as we mentioned, of course, we knew coming back you had 3 good offensive linemen, and of course that would be Austin O'Neill, Mason Aurier, and along with that, you also had Sam Braywood in there as 3 guys that you know you could fit in. They played for you a year ago, but I think really where it really helped was possibly how they helped some guys who didn't even start at those positions, guys like Maurice Stukes and Chris Ruprecht. You look at those 2 guys, and I think really they apparently helped them get better as they went along this year, and they're going to be around for you.
Right, they definitely did. You know, one of the things about an offensive line is having some continuity, and the other part is having experience, and the experienced players being able to work with the guys who aren't as experienced, make some calls for them. You know, when teams line up in defensive fronts, you know, you have to adjust on the fly, and the guys who've been there before and had to make decisions,
Right.
it's very important that they're there so that they can help the other guys come along.
And of course, we all know about your backfield, headed, of course, by Chuck Snorway, who's going to be headed out to Rutgers next year. And of course, his tremendous numbers, over 2,600 yards, got himself over 1,200 yards in the playoffs alone. And not only that, I thought last year he did a phenomenal job in scoring touchdowns, but how he eclipsed that this year, I thought if he did as well as last year, that would be great. And he ended up getting 37 touchdowns. In one game, he had 7.
Right. Well, we played 15 games this year as opposed to 12. That was one of the things, and we ran him in a lot of I formation once we hit the playoffs, so he was getting the ball more, and I think that the staff, we talked about it, and, timing it up so we could use them at the right time, not sort of overuse them during the season,
Right.
and keep them fresh for the playoffs. And then that opportunity presented itself. We had a couple other guys banged up a little bit in the beginning, and so that's what we did.
And of course, you had Mike Alley, came over from Commonwealth League and didn't play in the first game at all. And of course, got his start in that second ball game. Looked pretty good for a start for him, and certainly he adapted really well. And really, as the season rolled along, became one of your leaders.
Oh, no doubt. Mike, once he settled in a little bit, he really became a great leader for us. And Mike did a tremendous job. He's a junior. We expect big things from Mike next year as well. But he was very instrumental in leading this team across, to get to that district title. It takes a lot to get there, and you need great leaders and great players too. And Mike fits the bill on both those.
And of course, we're going to do a little bit talking about the defensive side of the ball they had this year. We'll do that right after this.
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
If you are looking for a car, where do you go? Faulkner Auto Group at 4427 Street Road in Trevose is where to go for the best deals in Bucks County for all your new pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs. Go to Faulkner Auto Group. It's always Faulkner, to be sure. Go online to faulknerautogroup.com. Just remember, it's Faulkner, to be sure, for all your new cars or trucks. 4427 Street Road in Trevose. Faulkner, to be sure.
Hi, this is Congressman Mike Fitzpatrick, and I hope you're enjoying tonight's game. As we gear up for another campaign here in the 8th Congressional District, there are some things that always remain the same, and that's remembering where you came from. I'm proud to say that I was born and raised here in Lower Bucks and attended local schools. That's why I will never forget our community's needs, and will continue to fight for programs like help for flood victims along the Neshaminy Creek, preserving historic land and open space, and bringing the National Veterans Cemetery to Bucks County. As your congressman for the 8th Congressional District, I can promise you one thing, that I will never forget my roots. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy tonight's game. Paid for by Fitzpatrick for Congress.
Landolfi's Deli in Yardley at 90 West Afton Avenue in the Yardleyville Square. This beautiful new eat-in deli and restaurant is open 7 days from 8 a.m., serving breakfast, eggs, omelet, breakfast sandwiches, even breakfast burritos. And of course, Landolfi's famous hoagies, specialty sandwiches, panini sandwiches, and fresh deli wraps. Landolfi's Deli at 90 West Afton Avenue open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call 215-321-4590.
Hi, this is Merrill Reese, and since 1986, McCaffrey's Supermarket has been a real supermarket experience and a very proud member of our community. Through good times and bad times, Jim McCaffrey and his family have been there to assist our neighbors when they needed help, whether it's helping flood victims, raising funds for the American Cancer Society, or supporting the local Little League teams. You can count on McCaffrey's to be there. McCaffrey Supermarkets, 635 Heacock Road in Yardley, in the village of Newtown, at 2890 South Eagle Road, and also in Princeton and West Windsor.
The Pennsbury Football Parents Club reminds you to come out and support the Falcons. They'll be selling Pennsbury football merchandise at every home game. And if you can't make it out to the game, remember you can listen to it live on 1490 AM WBCB or watch the Falcons video stream live every game at WBCB1490.com.
I'm back again here with the Galen Snyder Show as we wrap up the season for Pennsbury this year. Very successful one for the Falcons on the gridiron this season. And one of the most enjoyable, I mentioned this to some of the kids. Matter of fact, I mentioned it to Luke, your son. He was going to get on the bus, and we ran into each other after the ball game there last week at the weekend. And I mentioned to him, I said, this was the most enjoyable season I have ever had. And I've been doing this for 53 years.
Yeah, even more than 06?
Yeah.
Even more than 06?
Yeah, I think I enjoyed this even more than then. It was good. I loved 06. And I loved the fact, even though you got beat in that 4 overtime ball game, the Bethlehem Liberty was great. 06 was a great team too. I don't know what it was. I think it was the kids that we interviewed a lot of times too. And those that we were, surrounded by almost each and every ball game. They were just a good group.
Right. Good kids, real good kids all around. Good football players, good kids. If you have those two ingredients, you'll end up with a good football team, and that's what we had. And it'll be sad to see a lot of the seniors go. Since we're talking the defensive side, we actually have a lot of those kids coming back.
Yeah.
So. We'll see how it works out next year.
I think one of the things that made me enjoy this season immensely was the fact that every time I talked to all the kids on this ball club, I got to admit, they were not there, even though we told them how good a ball game were, they were the player of the ball game, they never took it as themselves. They always gave the rest of the team. I thought that was something that not just one of them did, they all did. They all gave their line. Whether it was on defense, if it was a lineman, they mentioned about the linebackers and the secondary, and the kids all made it like it was a real team effort, and which they knew it really was if you're going to get as far as they did.
Yeah, I think this is one of those cases where the team really was the team concept got us over the top. It really did. We've had some talented teams in the past.
Yeah.
Some big players, some athletic players, some fast players, and they were good teams, but what took this team, I think, to that point was what you're referring to, the fact that it was truly a team.
Yeah, they were a bunch of really good kids, and I mean that. I mean, we had a chance to talk to everybody, and we had a chance to interview them on and off the field as well, and they were a really good group. When you mentioned about the fact that the defense, you did have some seniors that helped you out that you're going to be missing next year.
Yeah, well, Ashante Rumpf, came in late in the season, did a great job for us. Of course, Jordan O'Neal was a mainstay on defense, playing our Mike linebacker position solidly for us. Was a starter for 11 games last year and 15 this year. Or 14 in this one game, but 14 this year. So he played a lot of football for us, and of course, in the secondary, Anthony Pitt, a 2-year guy, and also Joe Strong. So. We will miss those guys.
Yeah, you definitely had some guys on defense. The nice thing too is the fact that you do have a lot of guys on defense who are going to be coming back, and these were guys that, remember, a year ago they started out the season, they hadn't, most of them hadn't played at all, and then all of a sudden got thrust into it against an Easton ball club last year, and now you're in a situation where this year they got seasoned very well last season. They got better and better as the year went on. The defense, of course, you had that defense coming back too, so that was a big help. So now that you're coming into another year and you got about 8 of them that started that are going to get a chance to play here, you would think that before you head into next season, the defense is ahead of the offense at this point.
No doubt. We do have some offensive players coming back. We do have a quarterback, which is always important. But defensively, having 8 experienced guys coming back, played a lot of football. Just doing the numbers, you find 3 more spots, and you should be off of a good defense, not just kids who played, got experience. Sometimes people talk about, well, we have this many kids coming back, but what type of team was it?
Exactly.
This is a defense that's pretty good.
Right.
You got these guys coming back, so it's definitely a good starting point for us. Not that we're thinking about that right now, because we're really not. We're just we have our banquet coming up. And, and we're just happy for the season, and want to enjoy the holidays a little bit. And,
Oh, yeah.
regroup come the new year and take it from there. But right now it's time to enjoy all the efforts that all the coaches and players and everybody else who supported the program put in.
All right, and we're going to be back with the Galen Snyder Show to wrap it up right after this.
Achieving what you want demands the right game plan. When you team up with PNC, you get the tools and know-how you need to get where you want to go. Whether it's buying a new home, sending your kids off to college, or retiring the way you want, PNC is here ready to help you achieve your financial goals. To discover all the ways PNC can help, stop by any branch or visit PNC.com. PNC for the achiever in you. PNC Bank, member FDIC. Princeton University football, affordable family fun for everyone at one of the nation's finest on-campus football stadiums. Get your 2014 tickets now as the Tigers defend their Ivy League championship. The Tigers set Ivy League records in both scoring offense and total defense in 2013. And 9 All-Ivy selections returned this season, including Quinn Epperly, the reigning Offensive Player of the Year, and named to this year's Walter Payton Award watch list, along with All-Ivy defensive standout Anthony Gaffney. Tickets are on sale now for all 5 home games starting Saturday, September 27th, under the lights against Davidson. Ivy League foes Brown, Dartmouth, Penn, and Harvard visit Tiger Stadium in 2014. All single game tickets just $10, and season tickets for all 5 home games only $30. Group and youth tickets also available. For more ticket information, visit GoPrincetonTigers.com. That's GoPrincetonTigers.com. Princeton University football. Affordable family fun for everyone. I'm Merrill Reese to tell you about our good friends at the Revere Ristorante Italiano in nearby Ewing Township at 802 River Road. I can tell you that from South Philadelphia to New York's Mulberry Street, there's no better Italian cuisine than that served at the Revere. Start your meal with one of their great appetizers or salads. Entrees include outstanding veal dishes, fresh seafood daily, excellent steaks and chops, homemade pasta dishes, daily specials, and much more. You can also enjoy their bar area, where on most weekends, entertainment is offered. The Revere also does off-premise catering and can accommodate private parties for any affair, including business functions. Call the Revere Ristorante Italiano for more information and reservations at 609-882-6365. 882-6365. The Revere Ristorante Italiano open Monday through Friday for lunch and 7 days for dinner at 802 River Road, right off the Wilbertha Road exit on Route 29 in nearby Ewing Township.
Oh, the corner kick's right to Chris. He's got a shot. Oh, no.
It happens fast, so we'll treat you fast. Introducing Rothman Orthopedic Urgent Care, where you're seen without an appointment by a Rothman orthopedic specialist. Fast, any day of the week.
Okay. Easy with his leg.
Rothman Orthopedic Urgent Care, now in Marlton, New Jersey, with more locations to come. It happens fast, we'll treat you fast. Rothman Orthopedic Urgent Care. See RothmanInstitute.com.
Experience the Volkswagen love by visiting Volkswagen of Langhorne, located at 1862 East Lincoln Highway, minutes away from Interstate 95. Family owned and operated for over 20 years, Volkswagen of Langhorne is located in the heart of Bucks County. As the leader in customer satisfaction in both sales and service departments, they provide the finest automotive experience to you, our neighbors. Visit Volkswagen of Langhorne today to see and drive the latest selection of new and certified pre-owned Volkswagens. Be sure to also take a test drive in some of the newest models available, such as the all-new GTI. Start experiencing Volkswagen of Langhorne today online at vwoflanghorne.com. That's vwoflanghorne.com.
Well, we spoke a little bit about the defense and what they had coming back. They'll give you a little idea as to what they have offensively and coming back. I think one of the things you're going to be missing some of the guys. Of course, you miss a guy like Snorway. You miss the guys that you had on the line, O'Neill, Aurier, and Ravenwood there as well. But, you know, when you look at it, you got some guys, like I said, who could fill in the line. And one thing that you're always able to do, and that is to be able to get guys to back up people as far as the offensive backfield goes. And I think you're ahead of the game a little bit there because you do have some of these backs who played some.
We do. I mean, obviously, you don't really, you're not going to get a guy like Snorway.
Yeah.
You're not going to replace him with another guy like him. Unless you're St. Joe Pratt.
Yeah, then you can replace them, go anywhere and get them.
But you know, a guy like Chuck Snorway, you know, I would say the last guy, and we've had some really good backs.
Yeah.
We've had some very good backs. But the last guy to make an impact to his extent was probably fading back in 06.
Yeah.
So that's about an 8-year stretch where we've had good backs.
Oh, yeah.
Dante
better
Devine,
than average.
Dante Devine, Brandon Pepper was a quarterback, but he provided that running edge. But again, Snorway's a special type of player that you don't get every year. But we do have experienced kids coming back. We got some guys who've blocked for us. We got some guy. We have a guy playing guard right now who could conceivably move back to the backfield.
Yeah.
We got Hose, Dalton, who showed it. He's a pretty good running back. And, so we have some guys. We'll have to see how things shake out.
Yeah. And of course, you had some guys do a nice job for you too. I thought in the special teams department, I thought Tom Augustin was maybe one of the best holders that I've seen that you've had over the years. Because I tell you, he took a lot of snaps, as it turned out, that maybe were, like I mentioned, the last one I saw a week ago or so was over his right shoulder and put it down. He took him off the ground and put it there, and Josh Leon booted him through. I think that combination, along with the fact that you had O'Neal was the guy who was snapping to him, and that trio, and sometimes that's not easy to click 3 guys at one time.
Well, you brought up an important point. Not only is obviously it's going to be really tough for replacing Snorway, which we're not going to. We just have to figure out what we're going to do there.
Right.
O'Neal was a tremendous player. I mentioned he's one of the best linemen we've ever had. And our kicking.
Yeah.
The punting and kicking has been pretty solid for a couple of
it
years
has.
for us. That's something that you don't really have to worry about when it's there.
Right.
And then when they graduate, we graduated our guys, now you start going, okay, now we got to do a little work to figure out who's going to replace those guys. So there's definitely some holes. I mean, we definitely have some pieces coming back, but there's definitely a lot of holes that need to be filled as well.
I know we talked about this a little bit during the course of the ball game as we got down to that last quarter, and Marty and I both had the same sentiments, and that's about the fact that a lot of times you hear about certain coaches and they get all this talk about how good they are and they're always there, and Marty said one of the things he mentioned was the fact that Galen is one of the best coaches in this area, but he doesn't get the publicity a lot of times because he's kind of a laid-back guy. He doesn't go after it. It's for the kids. And I second that, and I mentioned to him, I said, like Marty said, hey, people may not like sometimes the fact that they're ground and pound and they don't throw the football. He said, but what counts is the W's. And he said, that's one thing you're able to deliver. And he said, the other thing is, you should get more accolades than you do. And, I think maybe in the future, with this one being your second one to take it as far as you did, maybe you'll get your just dues.
Well, that's okay. I don't mind. I don't really, like you said, it's not really my personality.
Yeah, and we said that, yeah.
And I'm fine. I just, I'm just very happy. We got a great staff. We got a great group of kids to work with, and that's it.
And you've had, and that's another thing. You've had your staff together for a number of years now, and that's always a big plus to not be losing guys.
Yeah, we do have a great staff, and we've kept them together. Hopefully, I can keep them together. There's a whole bunch of jobs popping up all over the place these days.
Yeah, I know.
But I'll keep as many of them on board as as we can. But you just move on, and the next year we're going to enjoy this year. We're going to spend the winter a little bit,
Right.
the rest of December, a little part of January, coming back, getting guys rested up. We got a couple guys that are a little banged up, need a little adjustment here and there. What I mean?
Yeah.
So before they go back to the weight room, but once the dust settles and we get guys re-energized and refocused, we'll start thinking about next year.
Well, I know he's mentioned about the fact that it's so true that, the football season just goes too fast. Of course, you only play one time a week, and that's a big difference. But certainly you gave us a ride. You made it longer, made it more enjoyable. And the fact that you guys took it a long way with this ball club this year was good to see that, because I knew they were a good bunch, and I knew they could accomplish an awful lot. It was good to see them accomplish all that they did.
Yeah, it was. And I appreciate, the efforts. The media, I thought, was great, covered us and, gave us, more than fair treatment, so and the kids appreciate that. That's meaningful to the kids, getting that type of recognition for the type of work they put in,
Right.
and that's good.
And before we wind up, I've got to say this because I've been saying it now for weeks, and I do believe this. I would be shocked if Chuck Snorway is not the Player of the Year in Quad A this year in the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know of anybody across the state that could have accomplished any more than Chuck Snorway did this year. And I just think he is deserving of being the Player of the Year.
No, I agree with you, especially when you consider what he did in the playoffs. When you're playing
The top caliber teams.
and then what he did. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, for the Galen Snyder Show, of course, we enjoy doing it every week, and each and every week was getting better and better this year, and we enjoyed all of that. I want to thank Galen for all he does, and for the team as well, of course, for those two. And one thing I've got to mention about the fact is I had a number of people who said to me about the fact that we streamed those games and they loved it, and we had almost 9,000 for that one game a couple of games back that watched those games. We had 5,000 or more, and most of them, and that was great. The people across the country wanted to see them, and even talked to Duke Balger, who's of course Earl Balger's son. He came in from Arizona for this ball game and watched this playoff game, and we talked to him at halftime, and he's glad that he can watch the team out there all the way out in Arizona. We're happy to bring it, of course, to you each and every time. But one of the things was mentioned to me was the fact that, hey, St. Joe's didn't have many people. When we looked across at your live stream, I said, yeah, but you should have been on our side. I said, the umbrellas were up because it was a lousy day, and it was packed with Pennsbury fans, and we even had to stand to get over the umbrellas to watch it, but that was enjoyable because really when it came down to it, they followed you all the way.
Pennsbury is, the community is all about football and supporting football. And there are some other communities that are into football, but you notice like when the team maybe isn't quite as good,
Right.
they tend not to, they tend to be a little, not show up. Whereas with Pennsbury, if the team's 5-5, you look at the home side, it's still packed with
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So Pennsbury's a football community. It always will, always has been, always will be. And they'll come there. They'll express their opinions. They may not like what I'm doing. Some of them are begrudgingly starting to like what we're doing. You know what I mean? But they're always there and they're always supportive.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Coach, on you and a great season, you and your team. Great to follow you. And not only that, of course, we hope to be back next year with another good ball club here for the Pennsbury Falcons. For the Galen Snyder Show, I'm Vince Reed. Thank you for joining us all season long here on the Galen Snyder Show.